Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Stylish Leadership. My name is Matthew Simmons, your host, here again with Melissa Chartier from melissachartier.com. So, we are going to talk again. We have been talking about relationships, and we are going to talk about this one. And we're going to talk about MGTOW, which is something that some of you may know of, but some of you don't. We're going to talk about it a little bit. And we're going to talk about men, how maybe you're a lady watching this and you say, where have all the good men gone? This is in our minds as we go through this. And so we're going to talk about that because the point of Simmons Essentials is where men become gentlemen. I want us to come back to have that chivalrous thing. But sometimes men think in like terms of a game, and if we don't know the rules of the game, and if the rules keep changing, then we just back out of the game. And so that's what MGTOW really is. It's called men going their own way, and pretty much it's just men giving up on any form of a serious relationship with women. We just talked about dating and kind of the different things to it. Yeah. And what do you call them?
I call them bitter quitters.
And in essence, that's what they are. But to understand the mindset of why they're doing that, I kind of want to pull this little snippet from a Father's Day sermon that T.D. Jakes gave. It's really good. Listen to it, and then we'll kind of talk about it here afterwards.
But today, you can't just be a provider. You got to be in touch with your feelings. Listen at your inner voice. You got to be touchable. You got to be willing to express your emotion. And so now, you're not just a provider. You don't just bring home the bacon. You got to be able to cry. But if you cry too much, you're too soft and you're wimpy. And if you don't cry at all, you're not a man. And so now most men are confused. How can I be a good man to a woman who enjoys being a good man?
True. And many men feel that way. And to take it to the extreme, they're bitter and they MGTOW their way out of it, which is not the right way to do it, because you can be a gentleman. And that's what this show is all about. That's what the book I'm writing is all about. And that's what the website, Simmons Essentials, is all about. How you can be a man and be a gentleman about it. But you do encounter that culture. Even I can, nice has become almost, if you're nice to, as a guy, if you're nice to a woman, it can be perceived that you're only in it for the one night stand or the sex. And then, women criticize, like, well, where are all the good guys at? But that you
do want to know that.
Yeah, you want to know that. And then you get into certain, you go into a bar scene and they're really only there for sex. And then you go,
we're there for free drinks. Let me just say that. Okay. So we're not just there for a booty call. I'm there just to get a couple drinks. No.
The men are there for that. The men are there for that.
Yeah. Aren't they everywhere though?
True. Yeah. But okay. So women, if you're a guy and you're going to a bar or a club to find a girl, you're going to encounter, once that has all happened. Yeah. The only reason that once the free drinks have happened and then there's that, then it's the
one hit wonder.
One hit wonder.
That's what I call it.
Yeah, so men, you go to a bar to find a wife, or not really a wife. You go to that, you're gonna find the one hit wonder thing.
One hit wonder. Yeah.
And then you're like, well, then where else do I go? Then you might go to like more of a business professional thing. Then the woman's gonna be like, well, if you don't make $150,000, I'm not gonna look at you. Then you go to the church thing, and your name's not Jesus, so get away from me. I'm not even gonna talk to you because you're not the one. So you're kind of screwed. Yeah. And so you're like, oh, okay, well, you told me to go to church, and they don't want to look at me because they're too holy for me. Then you go to the bar and they're only looking for a one night wonder. Then you go to the corporate blender, mixer thing, and it's like, well, I don't make enough. And then you look at what is it that men do. It's like, well, I guess we're supposed to fix things and change tires and, get the door for you. Then you start doing that for a girl and she's like, I can do this myself. It's almost like has women's lib taken away a man's chivalry?
I think partly, yes. Yeah. So I'll say partially, I think you're totally right. So I think also, and this comes a little bit with age and what you're looking for. So I even know when I was younger, you would just instantly go for the guy with money. Yeah. Then you'd go for the guy with the biggest muscles. Then you'd go with who has the nicest car. I mean, things change and your perspective changes on what you really want. However, I think that part of it is it's kind of like, what does the individual bring to the table? Yeah. Right? Which includes your heart. I mean, you do have to get to know someone. But I do think that there are many men out there of various age ranges. Clearly, I'm not dating someone in their mid-20s. Not that I'm saying I wouldn't. But it's a joke. It's a joke. However,
Right.
I do want someone that can be a man, you know?
Yeah.
So I think I have the opposite problem. So I've been on my own and lived by myself for a very long time.
Yeah.
So I am used to running my own show. This is where the pans go, right? And
Yeah.
I know that. I know that one really hard thing that I would have would be transitioning to having a partner in my home, right? It would be difficult for me.
Yeah.
But I think also as a man, I think that now I appreciate chivalry because I want someone that is going to take kind of a leadership role.
Yeah.
And be the leader of the household, but at the same time be a partnership. So it's a really hard juggle.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times that we think that the attention that we're getting from a man or someone, it does make you feel better for a while. Totally does. But again, we kind of talked about it before too. We're in a disposable society. So it's really easy to swipe. It's really easy to just move on to the bigger, better deal. And I think a lot of times people are looking for just bigger, better deal.
Yeah.
So you have a bigger, better job, bigger, better car, bigger, better house. And then as a woman, I get the opposite problem because now I've been on my own. I have my own home. I have an established life. So now you become too intimidating.
Yeah. And here's the thing.
Why?
Well,
I swear I'm really nice.
You know, I think some of that might have to do with a guy saying that if you got all those things going for you, not wanting to waste your time. I'm sure that there's some guys out there that look at it and say, you know what? She's got all of her stuff together. She can handle herself. I don't want to waste her time, or I don't want to embarrass myself. That's where the fear comes in. We say that you've got
White knight syndrome.
well, you get approached a lot less now.
Yeah.
A lot less.
Yeah.
And that could be a reason why the guys are scared, but they're also just more scared of embarrassing themselves as opposed to anything else.
Right. And see, I don't understand. That is one thing, though, I really genuinely don't understand.
yeah.
Because so even like with even Matthew and I's friendship, right? We talk to each other, we approach each other. I say hi to everybody because you have to remember that deep down, I'm still like the overweight kid that had nowhere to sit on the bus. Right.
And
Deep
I'm still the
down,
skinny kid who-
internally, I'm still a shy person.
Yeah.
I don't seem like it. I'm making up for lost time now.
I am too. Me too.
I really am shy. I'm nice to everybody because I know how it feels to be ostracized.
Yeah.
And to be made fun of.
Mhm.
And I think that people saying that I don't want to approach you or you're too intimidating or you're too successful or you're too whatever it is. Dot.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a cop out.
It is a cop out because I think a lot of men, and this is not just a men thing. This is an in general thing. People don't like maturing and growing outside of college and outside of school. And I've talked with other guests about this before. Like they don't self-improve at all. So it almost becomes, and I've heard Chris Randall, who was also on another guest on the show, he talked about how men say, oh, I can't get that girl. She's out of my league. To me, that's a cop out for a guy who doesn't want to attempt to get better in any area. And I mean, this is across the board. And so what usually ends up happening is the guy usually ends up molding a woman to his function so he can, because men like to, I've seen it a lot, you know. You see
where you're going with this.
Men
have the white knight syndrome.
and I see a lot, and I've seen a lot of like 26, 27-year-old guys with like 18, 19, 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
So
Why?
he can mold her.
And why else?
Sex.
It's easy. Yes, and it's easy.
She'll
You know
always
what I
look
mean?
up to him.
And your point was right on, AJ, when you were talking about people are afraid of embarrassment and are afraid of. Well, here's the way I look at it. We were talking about this a minute ago because all we're doing in between these different shows is talking about what we want to talk about.
That's right.
We have a lot to talk about.
We have a lot to talk about.
But
Whole
I
lot.
talk about how men have what I call white knight syndrome. So they want to like save someone. You know, they want to come in, they want to be like on the white horse, and they want you. And then you or AJ was like, okay, but what is it that women have? Because we do have our own thing too, and we decided it was we want to renovate men. It's so true. We think we can fix
It's a
you.
reclamation project.
Yeah, it's like
I think that women do the same thing that some men do. I think that what women do is it starts with sex. Most times it starts with sex. You meet somebody, whether they're younger or older, and you just kind of have a little a spark. You have sex, and then they see potential. You always want to see potential in something, but it's not always there, and you can't make somebody change if they don't want to change. But for a girl, they'll look at a guy. I'll start with sex. Maybe there's good sex and they like it, and they'll try to. I want to change this about him. I'll help him get this stuff together. I'll help him get a car if he needs a car. I might know a friend that can get him a job. And for a guy, I think what he's gonna do is he's gonna look at a younger girl, probably, and he's gonna say, okay, I can provide for her, and I can make her dependent on me. And that's where it gets dangerous because the female becomes dependent, or the guy relies on that dependence. And for the guy and the girl, and then if it's the girl doing the reclamation project, she holds that power because now she's provided so much stuff for him that they both expect stuff back. The older guy and the older lady, they expect something in return.
Yeah.
That's where it's disingenuous. You're not doing it for love. You're not doing it because you like it. You see sort of a way to control somebody or to have a sort of power over them. It's very dangerous. Very dangerous.
No, but very true.
Very much so.
And I think that's exactly the both sides of the spectrum. So we always think that's where I made a comment in one of the other episodes. I said I stopped rescuing men and started rescuing dogs, right?
Yeah.
Much safer.
Yeah.
But I think that we genuinely do think we see a pattern. You see the person's pattern. You see what they've done. They tell you. And we think, well, they're not going to do that with me, right? Because I'm so different. They're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Like those other girls weren't me. And we do really think that we can fix you. We genuinely do think that we can. And let me just say, like, so far in my life, I'm a 0% success rate. And men, like, when I have white knight syndrome, and that's where you get into like these blurred lines of what's chivalrous and what's not. Am I supposed to be a man, or am I supposed to be,
Yeah.
not
And
a
where
man?
in pop culture, have you ever seen a man portrayed well? I mean, think of it. I mean, it's like men, and in some ways, men are, can be scared of, because all the time you hear because then this could be more from a liberal like mindset of, because it's like men are rapists, men are pedophiles, men are, they're aggressive, they're brutes, they're sexist, so you look and many times in culture you see that. So men, after a while, either they become that or they just start shrinking back. And then there's also the either the metro or homosexual kind of softening of it to where, that's kind of portrayed a lot. And in order to be like the manly man is now portrayed in culture as like violent.
Yeah, or
like
so I think about shows like Spartacus where they're like super manly men, like gladiators.
But they're
totally
violent.
Down with
We
that.
don't like violent.
They are violent, but they're only violent to the other gladiators.
Yeah.
I would change them, Matthew. Don't you know they would not be violent with me? No, it's true though, and I think that we really are lacking masculine men. And I think, and I don't know, I say that if this is horrible, but I'm like, if I can't fit into your jeans because they're so skinny, we have a problem. Like guys are, when it takes you longer to get ready than me.
Yeah.
And that's like normal.
Yeah, they've almost because we're making men to be divas in a way.
No, you're right. The last
In
guy
a
he
way.
did, he got his hair colored more than I did.
Yeah,
He
men are supposed
tanned.
to.
He got manicures and pedicures. Like he did all these things more than I did.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he wasn't straight. I don't know.
Well, but the
That's
thing.
another topic.
Well,
I
the
don't
thing.
know. But it was just very bizarre.
Yeah. Well, the thing is though, but that's now celebrated. There's ways to do that now, and it's almost in culture. You look at mainstream media and all that. It's almost like what Bishop T.J. was saying. Now I'm confused if I'm too much of a man.
That's true.
Like if you were to say like a John Wayne type today.
Yeah.
If a John Wayne type today walked into a politically correct room, how would he be perceived?
Yeah.
He'd be threatening. People would perceive him as threatening.
He'd be threatening.
Cis white male.
He'd be a heterosexual white male, so that means he's sexist, he's homophobic, he's a pedophile probably, he's a rapist, he's a this, that. And so now we start painting this picture. And then, enter into a black guy or a Hispanic guy. Oh, he's a thug, he's a this, that, or the other. So where is a man portrayed, there was a day when it was portrayed as good, and then you go into a legal aspect. I found this video. Her name is Dr. Helen Smith, and she wrote a book called Men on Strike. And I think if we don't address this on this show, because this is a show going towards probably mostly men.
Right. That's good odds for me.
Yeah.
I just want you to know that's good odds for me. Why do you think I'm here?
She's single.
Just
No.
Well, we have to keep it light because
We gotta
it's
keep
true.
it.
Like, even from a girl's perspective, I'm confused on where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right? Am I supposed to be, like, in the kitchen in my pearls and my dress and, like, cleaning up after you 24/7? Or
No.
am I supposed to have my own life? And if I have my own life,
Yeah.
why? But see, I still want to be soft. I still want to be a woman. And I do enjoy gender roles.
Yeah.
I actually do. I have no problem, like, doing the laundry and doing these things. I really don't, because I'm a nurturer, and that's kind of my way of giving back. But then at the same time, it would be just really nice, like somebody that like fills my gas tank with gas,
Yeah. Well, yeah, that one right there. So what we've reached at, and did you get that video I sent on the chat? Because we might, because that's a good one to get into, because then there's the next episode we'll go into the legal ramifications of it, because I think that this is important. We're on relationships here, because I think that whenever we talk about leadership, relationships come into it, because you know, a lot of times you're going to be married and you got to bring it in. And as a leader, you're going into a culture where marriage is becoming less and less valued. And particularly if you're coming from a religious perspective, like we don't like that, because marriage is in some ways the end all be all, but it's certainly a beautiful thing to be a part of, which I enjoy. But you got to understand, as a leader, you're in a culture, and you got to speak the culture. And so she'll talk about that. But I don't, as a man, I see women are like, they're threatened. I don't want to threaten them. I want to walk with them, because I'm going to give you, I'm going to be honest, I've been giving you on how to dress and how to walk with confidence. That's going to come across as intimidating, because when we soften men, we almost have to be like, act almost gay or almost act it's called metrosexual.
Well,
you're
feminine.
Feminine.
More feminine.
Yeah. But then if you act too much, then you're a threat. But then women, there's the thing of like, well, okay, what is my role?
Yeah.
Am I in the kitchen with pearls? No, you can't do that. That's women's lib. I mean, that's sexist, and that's misogynistic or whatever. You can't have that. And I don't agree with that. I want a woman who's confident and independent.
In the kitchen with pearls.
Yeah. Not yeah. But then,
what do you think, AJ?
I think every woman is different, and you have to find that line.
Yeah.
I think there's probably very few women out there that they want a man that's 100% a man. Brute is probably a really good word to use. And there are like that. A lot of men, that's what they believe they should be, and a lot of men, that's what they want to be towards other men. So some girls like it. They want a guy that's 50-50, that's going to wear, you know, a pink hat and paint his nails and things like that. It's all fine and dandy. You know, I did some girly stuff with my daughter, believe me. But some girls only want a guy that maybe gets a nice haircut or dresses well, but doesn't do all the other feminine stuff. It's just, you got to find what she likes. Every girl is a little bit different. But I'll know that what my girl says is her favorite thing about me was that I was considered a metrosexual when we were younger, but I had an edge. She always said that you have an edge.
Yeah.
She liked that.
You can still be manly and do it. I think that there's that thing of like, man, you know, I don't want to, you know, there's a thing. It's one of those deals where you look at it and you're like, okay, like you said, what's a woman's role? Well, is a woman's role in the kitchen? Well, if you think that all the way, then it's like, then the women's lib people get mad. But then if you go the other way, then the MGTOW guys get mad. Like, you're becoming like us. Yeah. So then it's like, ultimately what you have to do is you have to, like AJ said, you know, it depends on who you're going, and what you put out is what you'll attract.
It's very true. And you have to remember too that with relationships, like especially you talking a lot about leadership and how to carry yourself, well, you just have to remember too that just as much like as much as you might want a relationship and things like that, and that can be a real positive in your life, a bad relationship can cause you to lose a lot of opportunities and friends and make your life miserable.
And a lot of time. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're
but
right.
A lot of time. You could spend years with somebody, sometimes 1 or 2, 5 or 10.
Yes.
And if that relationship doesn't work out, you could end up basically behind where you started.
Yeah. And feeling worse.
Especially if you let the other sex take care of you for extended periods of time.
Yes.
You'll come out, you won't be able to take care of yourself.
Yes.
You won't be able to support yourself. You won't have any money saved. You won't have any job prospects lined up. So you have to be very, very, very careful with that.
Yeah.
That's very true. It's a very good point, which is where like I'll talk about girls like running their own show and women and empowering them and like what to wear and confidence and all that. So we really have a lot of that stuff similar, but I think it's equal to know that, yeah, you know what, there's times I feel lonely. Yeah, there's times that I wonder, like, why is this happening to me? But you know, the one thing I don't have the worst feeling in the entire world, I always say, is the feeling that you don't want to go home. And I don't have that feeling.
Yeah. And let's part 2 this. We'll get to, we'll do another, we'll part 2 this here in the next video here, because I want to keep on this discussion. Thank you for watching this episode of Stylish Leadership. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. Own your own style. Men and women, be a leader. We'll see you in the next episode.